Tonight I want to talk to you about leaving the stump. Leaving the stump. I talked to you this morning about building cities of refuge, and it's kind of fitting that tonight I'm going to preach on tree stumps, and it seems like we can use some lumber to build things in our lives. And a couple things, I don't even know if I told you this morning, but I was studying that message about cities of refuge, and the road was always clear and is always accessible on the city of refuge. Okay, and always, like I said before, when I ran over there, the door was always open for the city of refuge. And they always guarded that road, and they always made sure it was accessible and easy to get to. And I think we as Christians, we need to do that. We need to make that road easy. We need to make that road accessible for people. And the way you do that is by sticking with the stuff and preaching the gospel and reading your Bible and praying and being ready for God to use you whenever He can. And I think I've got huge plans for Swanton Baptist Church. I was talking to Tina on the way home today, and I feel like we're 100% in this, and I feel like it. We just if we're just faithful and we just trust God, that He's going to bless us. And I just got so many plans and so many visions for this church. And I want them all to come true. And I think I love that thing you talked about this morning, Brother Harry, where you said that guy put the other guy in the water, and when he longed for that knowledge as much as he longed for breath, that's when God will do stuff. And I think I thought when you said that, Brother Harry, I thought, man, if we would long for souls and getting people saved for as much as we long for breath, that's when God will do something. That's when God will do something. This life will pass away. This life will go on. We as Christians, it doesn't hold anything for us, Monica. We can have a house, and we can have kids, and we can have happiness and things like that, but truly, we're longing for something more, and we're longing for people to get saved and get their lives right, and we know where we're going, and we know where we're going to spend eternity. So it kind of takes the not the fun out of it, but it takes the sweetness out of life to where we're these are just things, but what really sweet is worshiping the Lord, being with the Lord. Now, I want to talk to you about leave the stumps. Daniel chapter 4, verse 26. I'm going to read it one more time. And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall be sure unto thee, after that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Now, vainglory is taking credit for something that you had nothing to do with. That's what vainglory is. Vainglory is a teenager taking credit for this brand new car that they got when they haven't even never made a payment. Vainglory is for us taking credit for the great ability that we got. Maybe the ability to walk, or the ability to talk, or maybe the ability to jump high or do great things when we've done nothing to give ourselves this ability. God has given us this ability. Everything that we have, God has given us. And if we're not careful, we'll start to think of ourselves as being something, and something that we're not. And God will maybe have to cut us down to size every once in a while. When God deals with us, He's not interested in destroying us, okay? He's interested in helping us out. He's interested in healing us. He's interested in maybe teaching us something, or trying to show us before we get too big and we get ahead of ourselves. He's trying to show us where we need to, who we need to give our glory to, and who we need to say has given us everything. Now, when pride and arrogance, if there was a poster child, if there's a poster child for pride and arrogance, it would have to be King Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, he was so proud, he was so mighty, and he's talked about what he had done. Look at chapter 4, verse 29. It says, and at the 12 months he walked into the palace of the king of Babylon. This is Nebuchadnezzar. And even his name sounds like just an evil guy sometimes, doesn't it? At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. Verse 30, the king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? How arrogant was he? What arrogance! Wow, look how great I am. Look how great of a king I am. Look at how great of a place that I've built. Look at what I've done. If there's a poster child for arrogance, if there's anybody that truly was arrogant and prideful, it would have to be Nebuchadnezzar. very prideful, very arrogant. Now, if you read back in the story, or before this, 12 months before this, God actually tried to help him. He had a dream. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And this dream was about this tree. And this tree went all the way into heaven. And this tree, they describe it in the Bible. Now, the tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached into the heavens, sight thereof all earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and it was meat for all. And this is verse number 20 and 21 where I'm reading that in chapter 4. And the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which all the beasts of the field dwelled, upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong, for thy greatness had grown and reached unto heaven, and thy dominion into the earth. And whereas the king saw the watcher and the Holy One coming down from heaven, saying, hew down the tree and destroy it. So he had this dream, and this tree was huge. And this tree reached up into heaven. And this tree was so big that every single fowl of the air could go into this tree. And every single fowl of the air could go into this tree. I'm talking eagles and owls and robins and redbirds and any kind of tree. And it was so huge that any kind of animal, any kind of bird could go up in there and they could make a nest. And this thing went all the way into heaven, this tree. And this tree was so big, the Bible says that all the other animals could hide underneath of it and they could use it for shade. And also talked about how this same tree, it had all kinds of fruit, all kinds of beautiful fruit. And this tree was so big and it was so large that a fowl could hide in it, any kind of fowl. This was 12 months before this is the dream he had. And God told him about this tree, and he said this tree was hewed down. And this tree was chopped down and it fell. And when this tree was chopped down, the only thing that was left was the stump. God left the stump. Okay, He chopped this great tree down, this great huge tree. And I'm telling you right now that he had this dream. And 12 months before he made this next statement where he said, is this not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom of might, my power, my honor, my majesty. Before he did that, 12 months before he made that statement, God tried to help him out. God sent him a dream. God sent him a vision. That God was trying to change him. He was trying to show him something. He was trying to show him that he was too big for his britches. He was trying to show him that he was getting too prideful. He could see it 365 days ahead. God saw it. And God said, hey, Nebuchadnezzar, you're getting a little bit too big for your britches. And He sent him this vision so that He would try to change him. How merciful and how great our God is. He, like I was talking earlier, He sees far ahead. He sees what we're going to do. He knows what we're going to do. And He'll send us these little warnings. He'll tell you, hey, you're getting a little bit too big for your britches. Hey, you think that maybe you made all that money with all your power and all your might? Well, you're getting a little bit too big for your britches. Because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be able to walk. You wouldn't be able to talk. You wouldn't be able to be born. You wouldn't be able to be born into a free country called America. He's saying to Nebuchadnezzar, say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm just telling you right now, you're getting a little bit too big for your britches and you need to slow down. Now, so that's what happens to people that get too big for their britches. 12 months later, wow, what a kingdom. See all this I did. Every day for a year, for 365 days. Now, every day for a year, he said what he had done. Look at chapter 4, verse 31. While the word was in the king's mouth. Now God warned him. God warned him. He sent him a dream and He warned him. He warned him. He said, you're getting too big for your britches. He gave him a dream. He tripped him up a little bit. He tried to do that. For 365 days later, he kept saying this. And then he made this statement and said, how great am I? Look at what I've done. Look at my kingdom. Ain't I awesome? I'm the best. Now, verse 31. While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee. And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen. And 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. That same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird claws. 365 days later, he tried to give him a warning. He tried to show him, but he was too big for his britches. And as soon as those words, it says while the words were still in his mouth, all of a sudden, his hair started growing like eagle's feathers. And all of a sudden, he started getting claws. And he was down on the ground eating grass like a beast of the field. You see how fast that can happen? You see how fast when you get too big for your britches and you think you're something? You see how fast it can all change? And maybe you've done that before. I've had moments of pride where I thought I was something, and I thought maybe I could catch the ball, or maybe I could run faster than somebody, and next thing you know, I didn't catch that ball, or pow, I ran right into the side of the house, or maybe I thought I could jump this ramp on my bike, or maybe I thought at work that I was the best mechanic that ever lived, and next thing you know, I can't even fix a light bulb. That's what God will do to you. God will bring you down. He'll make you see that, hey, you're just a little bit too big for your britches. And you need to settle down a little bit. And we need to be careful of that. I think if we can do one thing at Swanton Baptist Church, if we could just be humble, and we could just seek God's face and get down on our knees and give Him all the honor and glory that He deserves. If we could just tell Him that, you know what, God, whatever you do here, no matter whether it's a choir special or a piano player, that's what you did, God. And if I can do that, if I can stay humble as a preacher, I'm telling you right now, Brother Harry, when I get up here sometimes I don't know what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. And He'll help me out no matter what. I swear I get up here, Brother Rick, and I feel like I'm going to take off and go to the races. And all of a sudden, right here, I just like, and He's like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm with you. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to do this. You are here. You are at church. Wake up. It's okay. Thank God for that. Listen to God when He gives you those warnings. Don't be prideful. Let us not take the glory and the credit for things that He's done. Whatever we got's because of Him. It's not because I'm a great husband that I got a great wife. It's not because I'm a great person. God gave me a great wife. God gave me a great mother. God gave me a great church. God gave me great in-laws. It's nothing that I done. God gave me all those things. God gave me my house. God gave me my health. God gave me my job. He gave me all those things. And the minute that I take credit of it and think that I'm a great husband or I'm a great dad, that's when you get in trouble. I'm telling you, stay humble and God will bless you. If that's one thing I've learned my whole life, if you just stay humble, I swear He'll bless you. I promise you He will. When we're out soul winning, we're out witnessing, stay humble. Stay humble when you're talking to them people. I love Carl King, how humble he is, and I'll tell you why. My wife will come to him with all these painting questions and all these things, and we're just talking about you tonight, Brother Carl. And she'll ask him these questions about paint, and instead of saying this, no, you can't do that. That's crazy. He'll just say like, well, it's going to take a little bit, but I think we can do it. Or it might take too much paint. Why don't you try it this way? He doesn't make her feel stupid. He doesn't act prideful and say, hey, I'm a great painter. He just listens and tries to help out. And that's what you're supposed to do as a Christian. Okay? Even though if you know, oh my gosh. Jesus came down here. The guy that wrote this book, that spoke this book into existence, it was there when it was laid at the foundation of the earth. And He came down here and He listened to him teach it to him in the temple. He didn't tell them how stupid they were. He didn't tell them how much more He knew than them. He sat and listened to them. He sat and asked them questions. He would try to ask them questions to give them the answers. That way they, oh, hey, I never thought of that. Or they'd do things like that. He didn't say, hey, I wrote this book. I know all about it. I know more than you. I've been doing this longer than you. And if anybody had the right to do that, that was Him. What did He do? He just talked to them and asked them questions and made them think for themselves, made them look smart. And then pretty soon hey, wow, I never thought of that. Praise the Lord. What have I done? How many times have we been there? If you think that I'm glad I don't need this, you think, you know what, I'm so glad Brother Kenny's preaching this message. I don't need this message, but I'm just so glad he's preaching it because other people need it. You're probably the one that needs it then. If that's what you're thinking right now, you're thinking, man, I'm so glad he's preaching this. We're going to get them people that are full of pride. I'm telling you right there, that's probably because you need this message. Okay, the Bible says, Proverbs says, pride cometh before a fall. Be careful. He had to take him from a king to a beast and then back to a man. Okay? He chopped his tree down. Every once in a while, you need to get your tree chopped down. I'm telling you right now, sometimes you need to get your tree chopped down so you can see just how small you are and how fast that tree can be chopped down, how high that tree was. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And I don't want to be big because I don't like to fall. Let's not be prideful. God's not interested in destroying you. Okay, that's the one thing you want to see from this story. He's not interested in destroying you. He's interested in helping you. I think we want to see our brothers and sisters in Christ. We want to see them get chopped down, and we want to see them get what they deserve. But I'm telling you right now, God's not about that. He's about saving you. He's about saving you trouble. You don't believe me that? 365 days before this statement, He gave him a message. He said, you need to straighten up. You're getting too big for your britches. You're getting too prideful. He gave him a warning. This is a king. He gave him this warning trying to change his life. Trying to get him to change his life. I read the story. There was this boxer. His name was James Quick, and he was in the 80s. And I think he was from Oklahoma City, big-time boxer. And he was talking about when he came to Chicago. So he gets off the bus in Chicago. He's got these 2 suitcases, one underneath each arm, and he walks up to Chicago to the Twin Towers. He sets them suitcases down. He's a good old boy from down home, and he sets them suitcases down. He looks up at Sears Towers, and he goes, Chicago, I'm going to conquer this place. He goes down to grab his suitcases. They're gone. He thought, man, I'm going to conquer this place. Man, I'm going to take... Oh, man, somebody stole my suitcases. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Pride comes before the fall. You think the day you think you're something, don't let God chop you down to size. I'd rather already be chopped down. I'd rather just be humble and thank Him for everything He's done for me. Now, I got a couple things that I'd like to show you. When God deals with us about pride, He doesn't want to destroy us. He doesn't want to take us out. He doesn't want to rip the roots up. When He left that stump, there's 3 times He said the stump in the Scripture. In chapter 4, verse 20, chapter 4, He said the stump 3 times. He talked about leave the stump. He talked about chopping it down to the stump. He didn't say rip up the roots. He didn't say tear up the roots. He didn't say anything like that. He left the stump. He left the chopped down part of the tree. Now, number 1, the first thing that He said, I think He wanted to say, when He was saying that, when he left the stump, 3 things I think He said and we can also use this in our lives as a Christian. Number 1 thing that I think He was saying about the stump was, I am greater than you. Okay? You're not as big as me. You're not a God like you think you are. You're not someone that controls your own destiny. You're not someone that goes out there and this is all your ability and this is all you've done. I think He's saying that I'm greater than you. I think that's one thing that He was letting Nebuchadnezzar know by chopping that tree down was, hey, you might be a king, you might be something in the world, and you might have a lot of people looking up to you, but I am always greater than you. I think that's what He's saying. And if we take that in our life and we apply that to our life, Monica, that God is greater than us, God will bless us. I'm living proof of it. That's one thing I've always done, and God has always blessed me because I've always said He's greater than me. And I always look to Him like He's greater than me. And I always trust Him, and I always ask Him to give me things, and I always just rely upon Him. And He's always done it. He's never let me down. Number 1 thing He's trying to say, I am greater than you. You are not bigger than God. You're not bigger than God. You're not smarter than God. You don't know more than God. God is bigger than us. He's way bigger than us. He's way smarter than us. Why would we do what we want to do? Why would we not trust Him and not listen to Him when it comes to decisions and things we're doing in our life? He's way smarter than me. He's been around way longer. Just everything about Him's better. But it's only the grace of God that we got what we got and we have what we have. Verse 37, let's check this one out. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and His ways judgment, and those that walk in pride He is able to abase. God knows how to fix it. That word abase means fix. Okay, that's what it means. It needs a fix. Now, when I was a kid, when I was a little younger, and our children were younger, when Maisie was a little girl, she would always say, "Daddy, bix it. Daddy, bix it." It was almost like she was saying the word biscuit. It was so cute the way she says it. I love the way Charlotte, she says church. She said, what'd she say? She said church. Like that. I love the way they talk. But Maisie would say, "Daddy can fix it." I'm telling you right now that God can fix it. He knows how to fix things. I think we get so prideful. Pride is an abomination, and I think pride is a lot more than just saying I'm this or I'm that. I think pride is saying, you know what? I'm going to fix my husband. I'm going to show him. I'm going to let that garbage pile up, and I'm just going to show him. I'm not going to help him in the house. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. How about let God fix him? God's bigger than you. God can fix him. God can fix your wife. God can fix your Sunday school class. God can fix your finances. God can fix things. Okay? He's able to abase. He's able to fix things and take care of things. Another thing about the stump, he's able to fix things. He chopped it down. He left that stump down. And after Nebuchadnezzar, after he got right and after he figured it out, he says, "Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven. All whose works are truth and his ways are judgment. And those that walk in pride, he is able to abase." He was able to fix Nebuchadnezzar. He was able to save him. He wasn't interested in destroying him. He didn't want to chop him down and rip the stump out. He wanted to fix his life. He knew that it was better to have him. He was worth more if he could reclaim him and fix him than he was just to destroy him. When you destroy him, there's nothing left. There's nothing you can use. And that's what we want to do with people. Number 2, the stump shows us that time is running out. Time is running out. Every time we walk by that stump, and no doubt I've got a few stumps in my life where God's chopped me down a few times, and we can look at those stumps and we can see number 2, time is running out. He had 365 days. When he walked by that stump every day after he had changed his life and gotten right with God, he said, "Man, I had 365 days. I could have taken that time and used it wisely, and I never would have had to have my tree chopped down. I never would have had to go through this." Every time he looks at that stump, that's what he's going to remember. Time was running out. Time is fleeing. Time is short. Okay? We need to take advantage of this time. If we don't fix it while we still got time, then God's going to chop us down and he's going to fix it. Okay? You got something in your life. You got some pride in your life. You got something going on in your life. Fix it now before it's too late. You've got plenty of time. Time is running short. Maybe you got a little child now, or maybe they're a middle-aged child, or maybe they're a teenager. Fix it now. Because once they become adults, it's kind of harder to fix, and it's a little later in life, and it's a little more difficult to fix. Fix these problems now while they're small. Fix these problems now while there's time. Husband and wife, you got kids, take time for yourself. You want to know how marriages get destroyed and marriages get broke up? It's because people, they don't take time for one another. They don't take time to get to that girl that they were with and that girl that they used to date and they fell in love with and they married and that sweetness that they had. Later, life gets busy and then they don't take time for one another. And next thing you know, their marriage is broken because they didn't take time and they didn't fix it with the little things. Notice those little things. There's still time. Fix it now. Fix it now before that tree gets chopped down. Every time you look at that stump, remind you that time is short, but there's still time to fix it. 365 days he had. On the 366th day, that's when God chopped him down. That's when God brought him on his knees. And every time he looked at that stump, he had to think, man, I had all those days and I wasted them. I could have fixed this a long time ago, but I had to go through this. I had to get my tree chopped down before I could figure it out. Number 2, the stump shows us that time is running out. Okay? Fix it now. God will have to take us lower than we are. Sometimes he'll chop you down up here, and then he'll chop you down again, and then he'll chop you down again, and then you look at that tree stump, and you're like, man, I didn't have to go this low. I could have fixed it way up here. I could have fixed it while I still had like 8 foot left or 10 foot left, but instead I waited till it was chopped clear low to the ground. Why didn't I listen to him? Why didn't I take time? Number 3. Let's look at verse 26. And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall be sure unto thee. After that, thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. The stump also tells us that God loves us, and he has a plan for us. He loves us. He has a plan for us. Even though he chopped Nebuchadnezzar down, he still got a master plan. He still told Nebuchadnezzar, I may have chopped you down and you may be just a tree stump, but you're still a king. I'm still going to use you to rule a kingdom. I chopped you down, I can still use you. Just because you've had your tree stump chopped and maybe God chops you down, and God, hopefully we never get that far. We get rid of this pride in our life and we trust God. But if you do get chopped down, He's still going to use you. He's still going to use you to do something, to rule a kingdom, or maybe rule your house, or maybe be a mother or a father or a Sunday school teacher or a bus worker. He can still use you. He's got a master plan for your life. And He can still use you every time you see that stump. That's another thing you do. You're still a king. You still got a job to do, he told Nebuchadnezzar. You still got somewhere you can rule. I still can use you. I may have to chop you down and I may have to bring you down, but I'm bringing you back up and I can still use you. God's got a master plan. If you get chopped down, you got pride in your life, He can still use you. There's two kinds of Christians, I think. There's one kind that when they get chopped down, and they have something happen in their life like that, and God chops them down, and maybe because of pride they take a fall. Those kind there, they'll roll over, they'll crawl up in the corner, and they'll play dead. They'll quit. They'll never go back to church again. They'll never serve God. They'll never do anything like that. Okay? Don't be that way. All right? You want to be the second kind of prison. Or Christian. I don't know if I'm saying prison. You want to get up and you want to fix it. You want to get up and you want to look at that tree stump and you want that to make you motivation where you're going to say, I'm not going to have that happen again. I'm not going to be that tree stump that gets chopped down. I'm going to grow a new tree. I'm going to try to grow a tree with some fruit, and I'm going to make sure that my tree doesn't get chopped down again. I'm not going to give up on you, God. I'm going to always trust you, God. God, thank you so much for whipping me just a little bit before you had to chop me down. That way I can figure out what I'm doing wrong and I can get right before something even worse happens. Before I get chopped down even lower, you can fix it. You can change it. You can get up and fix it. Number 4, the stump is a pattern to deal with other people and other Christians. Okay? God did not pull the stump out by the roots. He did not throw that stump in the fire and burn it. He didn't kick them while they were down and destroy them. He didn't just pull it out with a truck, wrap a chain around his bumper, and rip Nebuchadnezzar's tree stump out of the ground. If that's what he did with that evil, prideful king, what are we supposed to do with people? We need to leave the stump. Don't chop them down too low. Don't chop them down at their knees. They're going through something and they're going through a time of pride. We want to take the chainsaw and we want to chop them down and we want to hook a chain on our bumper. We want to drag them out of the ground. We want to throw them in the fire. We want to annihilate them. God didn't do that. He had every right to do that to Nebuchadnezzar. He could have gladly done it and been justified because He's God. But He didn't do it. He left something there. He commanded them 3 times, leave the stump. Leave the stump. Don't annihilate him. He told Nebuchadnezzar, I'm still going to use you. Deal with people. Humble them. Humble your children. You know, it's okay to break your kids' will when you're punishing them. Don't break their spirit. Okay? You want to kind of get them to let them know, you know, I'm boss, I'm in charge, but man, don't humiliate them. Don't rip their stump out of the ground. Don't make them, you'll scar kids. You'll scar them for life. Be careful about them. Be careful about how you treat them and how you love them and how you take care of them. I think that's what God's telling us here. He's telling us when we deal with people, don't rip their stump out of the ground. It's okay to humble them a little bit and say, hey, I'm still in charge here, kiddo. I'm still the one that brought you into this world. But you ain't got to be mean and hateful about it. You ain't got to be evil about it and where you just want to rip them out of the ground and destroy them. God didn't destroy them. He could have done that. But He saved a little bit of the tree stump. He saved that for him so he could see it. Deal with them, humble them, leave the stump. Their action doesn't have to be their future. Okay, just because that they did this thing that was wrong, maybe they stole something, their future doesn't have to be that they're going to be a thief. Maybe they did something even like a teenager. I'm thinking, you know, they went out and they drank some alcohol. They did something like that evil. That action doesn't have to be their future. It's up to us parents how we deal with them and how we teach them and how we don't destroy them, but we humble them a little bit. God had, oh my goodness, He had every right to destroy us and throw us into the lake of fire. If we got what we deserved, Brother Bob, how bad we would be. How much we deserve, Brother Rick. We deserve that. We deserve getting thrown into hell and all that stuff. But He just humbles us. And he reclaims us. And He tells us that He loves us. He doesn't destroy us. Man, He could... About ready to have a fit. I don't know why He does what He does and why He doesn't destroy us, Harry. Why would He put up with us? All the trouble we cause Him. But He loves us. And then He sent His only Son for us to die on the cross. Whew, man, I don't know why He does that stuff. God leaves the stump. Why can't we? One prideful action that your mate did. One prideful action that your spouse did. Don't let that make them a bad spouse. Don't throw them away just for that one prideful thing that they did. Maybe they did a prideful thing like they didn't do this or they didn't do that, or maybe they're trying to show you that they think they're better than you or things like that. Don't let it ruin your spouse. Don't let it ruin the attitude you have towards them. Don't rip their stump out of the ground. Leave something there for them. You know God's going to take care of them. He's going to chop them down to size. He always does. He always chops people down to size. And you don't think He's going to wait till wait till the rapture, wait till the end of the world. I'm telling you, He's going to get these people. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And like I said this morning, and it's going right back into there, we want to chop people down. We want to take people out. We want to be the avenger. It's not our job. We just got to do what we're supposed to do, and God will bless us. One prideful action doesn't determine your mate. Another thing, last but least, God has a determined amount of wealth that He wants you to make. Okay? I think He's already determined what we're going to make, Brother Keith. He already determined what I'm going to do. This is the plan. I'm talking about the plan that He has. I'm talking about the plan He has for your life. I think He's got a determined amount that you're going to make. This is where you're going to go. This is where your house is going to be. This is the family you're set up with. Try to find out what God's plan is for you. What we want to do is we want to be prideful and we want to try to fix it. We want to try to work all these hours and we want to try to do all these things and make all these things. God has a plan for our life. He has it already set in stone. He already knows what He wants us to make, where He wants us to go to church, what He wants to do, who we're going to witness to. He already has that plan. He already has that determined amount that He wants us to make and where He wants us to be. He knows where He wants us to be. Don't become prideful. I'll tell you, the biggest time that I screw things up is when I try to fix things on my own. Seriously. When I see, Brother Harry, we got this bill or we got that or we got this coming, as soon as I try to do it on my own, that's when I get in trouble. The best thing I can do is get down on my knees, take those bills and say, God, I need your help. And when I do that, that's when He meets my needs. That's when He takes care of me. When hope is all but gone, that's when He takes care of me. Okay? So God has that already determined. It's up to you to figure it out. How do you figure it out? By praying. By talking to Him. By asking Him. By not getting too prideful. God could destroy us easy, but He leaves a stump. He's so merciful. He loves us so much. That's what we need to do to other people. You ain't got to fellowship with them. You ain't got to go and partake of their sin or things like that. But you ain't got to destroy them either. And you know you can, and you have the power to do it. So don't do it.